I'm sure that this Dream Element spot appreciates. It doesn't, we don't know what it does yet. We tried to set it up. Welcome in. So I'm gonna sit here and work on some perusing through articles, because I think one of the problems for autistics, let me turn this down. One of the, I need it down, not all the way down. One of the problems for autistic people with this under and unemployment is like, is clearly, it's not, oh God, I don't think we're able to play to our strengths. Let me put it like that. So that is something that I'm concerned about in a way that I want to mess with. You want me on my soap? Yeah. Oh yeah, I do. Well, so I attended a little webinar thing, and I didn't put together how bad the stats are for us before. That it's 90% of us are under or unemployed. Do you know, I mean, anyways, do you know what that means? That means that's a statistical brick wall. That's not beat the odds. That's this is what I was saying here. You know what? That's like saying, you know that 10% of the population is left-handed, right? That would be like saying that in order for everybody who's right-handed to have a job, they have to do everything at their job left-handed. And if they do it wrong, they get fired. Ugh. Mine is overreaction and not being able to believe reassurance. Well, because if the reassurance is BS, you know, I get it, to be honest. Like, even if, okay, I'm going to say, even if autistic people are a little bit more prone to overdoing it, I agree. We can anger ruminate. We've talked about that a little bit. Those odds. I'm like, I wasn't a stats TA for nothing, man. Like, I was like, oh, hell no. Like, to put the pressure on us to beat those kinds of odds is insane. Also, we're disabled. What? Like, hey, disabled person, beat odds that an able-bodied person would sneer at and give up. What? What? That's not happening. And not on my watch, you know what I mean? I'm going vigilante mode is what I'm telling you. Okay, hold on. So, yeah, so we're going to sit and we're going to look through all of the studies. So, I think one of the main differences gets into something that is broken down as declarative, non-declarative memory. There's other terms for this, but basically, so, all right, episodic memory, as I expected, by the way, episodic memory is connected to, or has been connected to recently, and there's a person that works on this exclusively in this sort of like memory field. These are fields that don't talk to each other, of course, right? Oh my God. But episodic memory is related to shall we say, event construction, so imagination, creativity, etc. So I think we use episodic memory, and the strength that we have. Episodic memory is also connected. So there's two types of non-declarative memory. Episodic memory, which is where you remember where you were and you kind of, you know, relive it. And the other one is facts and like basically like memorizing, oh, I don't know, the thing that we Rain Man stereotype are able to do. Data, facts, right? Okay. Anyways, so, but the other issue is like serial position we're not good at. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in number spans backwards is a way you can test for different types of like inattentive ADHD as well as autism and all kinds of stuff, which we tend to have overlapping, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to suggest here is that, and also other studies I've already read have suggested that what our intervention should be, yes, we can try to strengthen this serial recall, or this recall is recall as a function of serial position, which would be following instructions and all that shit. Right, doing a memory test with the psych. Yep. And this would be important for people with ADHD as well as autism, because obviously, but so we could do it that way, right, where we strengthen it. But that means you're going to have to completely knock out the thing that we're good at, which I don't think is a good idea based on our what would be our, well, first of all, our clinical history for most of us, because we've already had issues where we've been trying to do treatments that don't work. But also based on just our life history. Like, that's not a good idea if we've been shamed or afraid of using the one strategy that our brain is really good at and has actually been developing in spite of even being shamed for it. So this is what I'm going to suggest, is that, well, okay, just max that out. Just let us use that. Also, the reason, here, can I show you the thing? I'm going to show you the thing that I can't fix my snap camera right now. So come with me. Come here. Okay, so here we are. Hi. Also, how do I get this thing back up? Did I? Okay, that's not it. I'll figure out in a second. Okay, so come here. Come with me. Let's go over to my Instagram. Also, happy International Women's Day. Part of why I'm doing this. Ugh. Right. I definitely think we're definitely reacting. Okay. Let's put overreacting into a different box for a second. We definitely need to work on self, like reality testing. Yes, 100%. Yes. We should never stop doing that. Reality testing, making sure that we're crunching the right data, right? That we're not trying to fight the bullies forever. I get it. Agreed. Especially because our brain likes to loop to understand things because of, I think, this memory issue. However, we do need practical, real life world altering solutions, and we don't have enough of them. So I also get how we're like kind of biasing towards being hyper vigilant on top of it. It's really hard for us to relax, because it's like, that's a real freaking threat. So it's like, well, make the real threat go away. I agree that we're responding to things that aren't threats. 100% agree. In fact, that's part of the definition of how autism works. But also, could we deal with the real world threat that everybody can understand? Like, if you have a threat to being able to sustain, your income, like, that is a real stressor. And fix it. Tell us how to fix it, because 90-10 looks real bad and not fixed to me. So, so yes, but also, you know what I mean? Okay, so that's what we're going to work on all day until I'm satisfied with the progress. But okay, here, come to my Instagram for a second. So here's my story. I invited people to come through, even. Also, I obviously really like ballet. Amazing. I like this ballet teacher because her dog does the same thing that mine does when I try to do ballet. I'm just like, hi. Very familiar. Okay, so come here. Oh wow, I'm almost at 1600. That's kind of cool. All right. Okay, I gotta put the sound on. This isn't the one I wanted to listen to anyway. Or that one. Okay. Oh, this is funny.
If you are free in the morning, come by. From 8 to 10, I'm going to be streaming on YouTube, and I wanted to share what I've been working on. I'm going to be sitting down and reading some papers and getting through them. I have a theory about how autistic brains work that I think is correct. I think autistic brains work with episodic memory, and that's basically remembering things that have happened to you as if, like, a cinematic recreation of it, and then we use that to project forward as our imagination. But we're discouraged from doing that because in popular culture, there's this idea that if you're too imaginative, that will lead to something that we would commonly call psychosis. This is a completely different region of your brain. No. So I think people who have long-term memory storage differences, which I think is happening in autism, need to have extremely imaginative thinking. And I want to talk about that tomorrow. So come by. Yeah. Just for perspective on this, 10% is the same percentage of people that are left-handed. Imagine if all of you people that were right-handed, if your life depended on you writing left-handed for your job. I'm sure many of you would secretly, try to keep it under wraps that you're actually writing with your right hand, and then you'll get fired immediately. Like, think of it like that. If your life depended on you having to write with your left hand and you couldn't get caught ever compensating by writing with your right hand, this is the world I am living in. Aha! And yeah, the odds of me pouring through the 40 research papers that I have left to pour through and come up with a better theory as to how to approach autism and learning and directing towards goals, which, by the way, I've made progress on, the odds of me succeeding in that, such that I can change the odds of the system that we're currently in through design, completely going in a new direction with an intervention that actually targets the part of our brain that is impaired and impacted. The odds of me succeeding at that are higher than the odds of me just plain old having full employment. I am definitely not in that 10%, and I'm not going to get there. So, I'm not going to try to beat the odds. I'm going to just try to read research papers and fix this on my own. Just for my pride, I do know there was a typo there. I'm going to go to sleep so I can do this in the morning, but go ahead and look up the stats on this. Look on this, it's dismal. Of all disabled groups, autistic people face the highest underemployment, unemployment. All this and this goes across all ranges of impairments from being autistic. So someone like me who went through a school system, and by the end of it, by my senior year of high school, I graduated as a 4.0 merit scholar. Okay, didn't do crap for me. The school system cannot prepare autistic people to be successful adults. It's not possible. And I'm tired of covering for it. I can't quite get my life together, and I'm not a bad or stupid person. This needs to change.
There you go. How did that feel? Okay. All right. Let me fix something really quickly, by the way, before we get into... I have a lot of tabs saved. So basically what the plan is we're going to go look at a bunch of tabs that are a bunch of studies. I've already watched a couple of... So first of all, I'm very encouraged because this thing about declarative and non-declarative memory is turning out very well. That my assumption was, I already built a hypothesis that then was bared out in a lecture that I just watched that was specifically about that hypothesis made by somebody who's a specialist in memory and research. Yeah, well, I feel you, Shade. Okay, the best thing for your nervous system is another human. The worst thing for your nervous system is another human. You know that all of our nervous systems are shot. Our nervous systems are like one little thread, the last one. So we all know that. So don't do anything that feels like it's self-flagellating, What makes your anxiety worse? Humans. Yeah. But I think it's fair to acknowledge that's the situation you're in, both because, I feel like we're playing to our vulnerabilities. So sure, we're vulnerable to popping on a soapbox and screaming at the sky. But are we wrong? And it's we're not wrong, and we're not straight up distorting things. It's just that this is how I think this is how our brain works, where we're seeing. So my example is, I've told you about pizza thread. this is going to be a good, I'm going to have to be able to teach you about pizza thread. So when I talk to somebody and they start building a tapestry, which is a metaphor that I'm saying for like an idea, a concept, some sort of a demonstration of a system, or they're laying out the groundwork for a later argument, right? They're like, well, here's the tapestry on which I will map all of the future concepts, right? So let's weave that tapestry with a green thread, and a red thread, and a blue thread, and a yellow thread, and a pizza thread, and an orange thread. And you're like, no, what are you doing? You can't make a pizza thread. What are you, stop. And for us, we're like, stop. And you know, everyone else was like, well, let him finish. I was like, no. So the way we think, we tend to like, you know, see when something is doomed, and then Chicken Little. You know what I mean? That bird has no clothes. Ah! Like, that's us. Oh no. Yeah, that's difficult. So yeah, so let's work on just being as calm as we possibly can be. Knowing the odds, you're not wrong that the environmental reasons for stress are too much. Yeah, because things not being in a structured order drives us up a wall. Yeah, because how are you supposed to argue from something that is like unsound from the get-go? How? You can't, what? Okay, so we're really good. Oh yeah, wrong thing. I did the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Task manager. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Girls and boys and noise and what? Oh, there we go. I want the app. Thank you very much. Okay, I just need to... Okay, I need to close this. Not this. Oh, good God. I was about to be wrong. Okay, let's try this again now. Oh, my camera wasn't working. Ah! Oh, that's not it! No, I don't... Sorry. My nervous system is... Oh, hell yeah. Okay, good. Exactly. I won't scream anymore. Sorry about the screaming. Whoops. Whoopsie doopsie. Sorry. What? It said welcome to Snap Camera. No! I lost all of them. No. 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 Oh my God, I'm gonna kill them. I lost all of them. They're gone. No. I need them. No, I need my banana and stuff. Oh, no. I saved them and I did the thing and why isn't it here? And oh, no. Something's wrong. Huh. No. What happened? I force closed it because it wasn't loading properly and like, oh my God, no. What happened? I need it to work. I need Snap Camera. I can't do this. Oh, please share them because I'm freaking out currently. No. No, 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 no. Okay, you know what? Let's try force quitting it again. No, 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 no. Oh, shit. What is going on? You know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll figure out what went wrong. It's probably fixable. Holy shit. I don't know what happened. I set it up so that it would be on my hard drive with all of the lenses and stuff, and this should still be working. What happened? Did they do something? No, 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 no. I was fine for a while. Shit. Okay, just don't mind me for a second. I don't understand computing to the degree that I had to set this up. Oh my god. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. How do I get my favorites back? Fuck. Okay. Okay. It reinstalled somehow. Okay. I think I can fix this. Okay, I'm just gonna have to fix this. I'm so sorry. Okay. This is not what I meant to be doing today, but you know, autism, you know how it is. Okay. Oh my god. Very upset. So it basically just like reinstalled itself, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that. Cool. Okay. 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 Excuse me for a second. This is the guide that I followed originally.
Your Snapchat kill SnapCam, you won't be able to search for any more lenses to add to your collection. Next, we need to cache all of your favorited lenses so that all of the information and data is stored on your PC.
Which I did.
The way to do that is to go into your settings and increase your cache size. So the maximum cache size that you can possibly have is 1 GB. Set that to 1 GB. Then this step is super important. Make sure that you do this. Go over to your favorites tab, click on the very first lens, and activate every single lens. So just keep on pressing right until you get
it cleared the history. That's what happened.
List, and that will make sure that it caches all of your lenses. Next, you probably want to back up all of the files and the actual lens files that SnapCam uses to store all your settings, because sometimes SnapCam just freaks out and deletes all of your favorited lenses, and I don't know why that happens. Okay. So it's probably a good idea to just back up all of your settings. So for me, I went to wherever I installed SnapCam. So this is where I have it installed, program files. I backed up this whole folder. Now this folder just contains the program, so it doesn't contain any of your settings, but I think it's easy to just back it up anyway, so just do that. And then go over to where you have all of your settings. So if you type in the bar app data and then go back here and click on local, scroll down to where it says snap here, go SnapCam, and this whole folder, this contains all your settings. So it's got your settings JSON file of your settings. So if you type files, I backed up this whole folder. Now this folder just contains and activate every single lens. So just keep on pressing right until you get to the end of your favorites list.
Jesus,
and that will make sure that it caches all of your lenses.
I'm so
Next,
sorry.
you probably want to back up all of the files and the actual lens files that SnapCam uses to store all your settings, because sometimes SnapCam just freaks out and deletes all of your favorited lenses, and I don't know why that happens, so it's probably a good idea to just back up all of your settings. So for me, I went to wherever I installed SnapCam, so this is where I have it installed, program files. I backed up this whole folder. Now, this folder just contains the program, so it doesn't contain any of your settings, but I think it's easy
Where
to
did I
just back
save
up
it?
anyway,
Oh, shit.
so just do that. And then go over to where you have all of your settings. So if you type in the bar app data and then go back here and click on local, scroll down to where it says snap here.
Where did I put
go
it?
SnapCam, and this whole folder, this contains all your settings. So it's got your settings JSON file. Make sure you have this backed up, and then this cache folder is super important. So this lens folder, all these numbers, it seems to have like way more lenses than I seem to have cached, so it's probably caching some of the lenses that I use and not necessarily favorited. So doesn't matter, I don't even know what these numbers are, but just make sure that all of this is backed up as well. And then lastly, it's probably a good idea to just download the SnapCam installer too, because Snapchat is going to take down this download link on the...
Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did I put it? Hold on. I don't know where I put it. Hold on. Fudge. This is not what I meant to be doing today. Like, at all. Oh, lenses. Here they are. Okay, Jesus Christ. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. First of all, let me move you here. And you too. I have a zip of it too. Jesus monkeys. Okay. I'm fine. I'm not fine. I'm not fine. I'm not fine at all. Oh my god. All right, so let's try this again. I need to fix my lenses real quick. And by real quick, I mean I don't know how long this is going to take, and it doesn't matter because it's too important to me. Type of thing. Wait, where did the other okay, there's the lenses. Okay. Did I back up the wrong stuff? Shit. Did I back up the wrong stuff? Did I back up the wrong thing? Did I do this wrong? Oh my god.
So it doesn't contain any of your settings, but I think it's easy to just back it up anyway, so just do that. And then go over to where you have all of your settings. So if you type in the bar app data...
Uh-oh.
And then
I did this wrong.
Go back here and click on local. Scroll down to where it says snap here. Go SnapCam, and this whole folder, this contains all your settings. So it's got your settings JSON file.
I didn't do this.
You have this backed up, and then this cache folder is super important.
Fuck!
So this lens folder, all these numbers, it seems to have like way more lenses than I seem to have cached. So it's probably caching some of the lenses that I used and not necessarily favorited. So doesn't matter, I don't even know what these numbers are, but just make sure that all of this is backed up as well. And then lastly, it's
shit! I didn't do this right! Oh no! Okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Oh, fuck. Okay, hold on. Calm down, Jane. Maybe try to calm down. Okay, okay, here we go. Let's go into, okay. Document. Where the hell even is this? Oh, good God. So I definitely messed up slightly, but it's probably not doomed because I bet somebody saved the cache or something. Oh my God, what the fudge. I thought I just needed to save the lenses. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Not good. Where even is it? Program files. Okay, hold on. Snap ink. Okay, here we go. Holy crow monkey. Okay, what did he say? Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap.
Here. Go snap cam, and this contains the program, so it doesn't contain any of your settings, but I think it's easy to Snapcam just freaks out and deletes all of your favorited lenses.
Damn it.
And I don't know why that happens, so it's probably a good idea to just back up all of your settings. So for me, I went to wherever I installed Snapcam, so this is where I have it installed program files. I backed up this whole folder.
You
now
genius,
this folder just contains the program, so it doesn't contain any of your settings, but
Although,
I think it's easy to just back it up anyway.
none
so
of this
just
has been
do
modified.
that. And then go over to where you have all of your
Let me just back
settings.
this
So
up.
if you type in the bar app data, and then go back here.
You know what?
and
I'm gonna
click
back
on
it up.
Local. Scroll down to where it says Snap. Here. Go Snap Cam, and this whole folder. This contains all your settings. So it's got your settings JSON file. Make sure you have this backed up, and then this cache folder is super important. So this lens folder. All these numbers, it seems to have like way more lenses than I seem to have cached, so it's probably caching some of the lenses that I use and not necessarily favorite. Cache folder is super important, so scroll down to where it says Snap. Here. Go Snap Cam, and this whole folder. This contains all your settings. So it's got your settings JSON file. Make sure you have this backed up, and then this cache folder is super important. So this lens folder. All these numbers, it seems to have like way more lenses than I seem to have cached, so it's probably caching some of the lenses.
Where is the cache folder?
Not necessarily. So this lens folder, Snap, have all of your settings. So if you type in the bar app data,
Okay.
and then go back here and click on local.
Great. Nothing's
Scroll down
there.
to where it says Snap.
What the fuck?
Here. Go Snap
Is there a
Cam,
kill switch on
and
this or something?
Whole folder. This contains all your settings. So it's got your settings JSON file. Make sure you have this backed up, and then this cache folder is super important.
I don't even see everything here.
Here. Go Snap Cam, and this whole folder.
Wait, where
this
is that?
thing. So if you type in the bar app data, and then go back here and click on local.
Oh, okay. No, I have to go. Okay, hold on. I have to go app data. This is the worst day. I'm having a bad day. I had a bad day. I'm losing my mind. I am okay, and everything's fine. That works really well, actually. I made a song. I made a parody song. Okay. App data, local. This sucks. Okay, it's working on it. I'm assuming app data does something here. Okie dokie. Anyways, this is alright, so I'll be streaming later than I said I was. Where's local? Oh, good God. This does not look the way they said it would. I will figure this out. I at least have the lenses, which is good, but oh my God. I'm absolutely fine. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. It's just like those lenses are so important to me. Autism, autism. Touch of the tism, as they say. Or in my case, an iceberg that could sink the Titanic of tism. This is not what I meant to be doing. God damn it. But the pit in my stomach. Okay. I'm upset. I'm definitely upset. This is taking a really long time also. Why is it taking so long? Hold on.
Scroll down to where it says Snap.
App
Here.
data local. Okay, hold on. This is taking way too long. Let's stop that. Okay, so he went to this PC. Let's try this. App data. I think I'm just gonna have to fix this later, unfortunately. Because I really wanted... This is super frustrating. Hold on. I'll be right back. This is definitely not what it looked like on their computer to try to fix this part. It sucks. Damn. Perfect. So that's what I look like for until this is done. See, this doesn't look right at all. I don't understand this. So let me go back here for a second. Okay. Local. I need to go to app data. Okay, this is stupid. Where is app data located? Like, this isn't right. Snap camera, okay. Oh, he did it different. You have to do this percentage sign. I don't understand that. I guess. Is that right? I don't think that looks different yet.
And then go back here and click on local. Scroll down to where it says snap. Here. Go snap cam. And this whole folder, this contains all your settings. So it's got your settings JSON file. Make sure you have this backed up. And then this cache folder is super important. So this lens folder. All these numbers, it seems to have like way more lenses than I seem to have cached. So it's probably caching some of the lenses that I use and not necessarily favorited. So doesn't matter. I don't even know what these numbers are, but just make sure that all of this is backed up as well. And then lastly, it's probably a good idea to just download the SnapCam installer too, because Snapchat is going to take down this download link on the 25th.
This sucks,
so
man.
Just make sure that you have it just in case you need to reinstall it for some reason. Now, doing all of that should be enough.
Okay, so I'm fine. I will fix this and I'm fine. Put app data that in the address bar. That's what's different. Okay. Did I spell it wrong? Yeah, see, that's still wrong. Oh, in this bar. Oh. Okay. Like that. Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you. We got there. Okay. Oh, it's all gone. What the fuck? Oh no. What am I gonna do? Okay. Shit. It's empty. Okay.
Snap Camera has officially shut down. If you're late to the party, Snap Camera was a program that allowed you to use any Snapchat lens within OBS or Discord so you can have fun filters for your stream. And now you can't use it. Snapchat has officially taken it offline as of last week. You can't even download the installer anymore. It just takes you to the new Snapchat for web, which sucks and isn't even gonna work for us. And even if you did have it installed before, you can't even find any lenses anymore. Thankfully, a really smart person named Jaku has created a patch so that you can continue using Snap Camera even after they've taken it down. Follow me on Twitch. This video is probably gonna get a lot of views, so I'm trying to capitalize on that. Before we install anything, I just wanna go through a couple quick warnings. So the patch that we're going to install today is going to modify your SnapCam install so that instead of communicating with Snapchat servers, which they've just shut down, it's going to redirect to a third-party server that has most of the Snapchat lenses backed up. I just wanted to say that because some of you might feel a little bit weird that you're using some kind of third-party server that you're not really sure is safe and you don't really know what it does. And also so you don't get disappointed if the lenses that you're looking for aren't available on this third-party server, because
I don't know what to
while
do.
Jaku was able to back up hundreds of thousands of lenses, there might be some that he wasn't able to back up, and some that get made in the future might not be in his server, so just be aware of that. All right, so let's get started. So all of the instructions today will be coming from the GitHub link.
I don't know what to do. I'm like freaking out, man.
So I did a video a while ago showing
Okay. Okay. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, man. Shit, dude. Okay. I don't even know what to do. All right. I'm gonna barf. I don't know what to do. I want to barf. I don't know what to do. I can't fix this. I'm gonna cry. I didn't do it right and I'm gonna cry. Okay. Alright. This has to get fixed. I can't focus. Okay. Alright, everyone. I'm gonna barf. Okay, let me contact my technical support slash my friend. Okay. This is not what I meant to be doing this morning. No. No, it is not. Okay, how can I... Alright. Okay, I'm fine.
Snap Camera has officially shut down. A download link to lenses, and you added a firewall rule to block access to the Snapchat servers. So if you did that, you're gonna have to go back into your firewall and delete that rule that you added. But yeah, it should work pretty much exactly the same as it did before, other than the fact that, like I said, some of the lenses might not be there. Now, in the original video I did on Snap Camera, I showed you that some lenses were locked, like Snapcam didn't allow you to use them within Snap Camera, but if you pasted the URL to the snap code, it...
I don't know what to do. I backed them up and I'm like freaking out and I don't know what to do and I want to throw up. Okay, so this sucks. I don't know if I can fix this. Okay. I don't know. I'm just not okay right now. I know that this is fixable, but I don't actually understand it enough, and I don't want to mess up anything further. Like, oh, fuck. Okay, so maybe this is a good time to try to do my research because my brain is currently doing an autism implosion thing. Like 100% that's what's happening. Okie dokie. Oh my god. I saved the lens. I didn't do the rest of it correctly. God. I'm just not okay. Okay. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Alright, but that's because I have autism. Alright, we all know I have autism. Great. Okay, wonderful. I think Rowan can help me. And I'm not gonna worry right now because it's probably solvable. I'm just like pretty freaking pissed off right now that I don't feel like it's probably solvable. It's just that I can't solve it. Okay, but what I can do, let me go do a helpful thing. If I do, you know what? I'll think about it this way. I will do the researchy thing. That's what I'm good at. Consolidating information on a topic that I have spent special interest time on. All right. History, bookmarks. Okay. All right, let's go. All right. Yes, I want to open 108 tabs. Thank you. Okay, here we go. This is more tabs than I thought I had. I'll have to look through. Okay, let's just pour through these and get through that, and then try to have a working theory by the end of this stream. All right. Context sequence theory, a common explanation for multiple types of learning. Although principles of neuroscience, is there anything else I need? No, right? Although principles of neuroscience like reinforcement learning, visual perception, and attention have been applied in machine learning models. By the way, machine learning is why we're going to make these progress, landmarks or milestones rather, is machine learning is great. Okay. There's a huge gap between machine learning and mammalian learning. Based on the advances in neuroscience, we propose the context sequence theory to give a common explanation for multiple types of learning in mammals and hope that can provide a new insight into the construct of machine learning models. In recent years, machine learning models such as the convolution neural network CNNs, long-term short-term memory, LSTM, generative adversarial network, GAN, and transformer have been widely used in various fields. Some of these models referred to the principles of brain science, including reinforcement learning, visual perception, and attention. However, there is still an enormous gap between machine learning models and human learning or mammalian learning. For example, a large number of training samples are not always necessary for mammalian learning in many conditions. And mammalian brain has a strong flexibility and plasticity to support the outstanding transfer learning. Multiple types of learning. Over 2,000 years ago, Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, proposed many laws of learning, such as it's important for learning to practice from time to time, and we can gain new insights through reviewing old material. In the past 100 years, many scientists provided various new findings and insights into learning. Pavlov trained his dogs and found a type of learning called classic conditioning, which has issues, by the way, and created many concepts, including acquisition, extinction, generalization, discrimination, and secondary conditioning to describe properties of learning. Thorndike found his cat showed trial and error learning, and Skinner detailing investigated the relationship between learning and reinforcement through operant chambers. Tolman tested mice at various bases and developed the cognitive map theory. Kohler observed that a chimpanzee named Sultan had the ability of insight learning, and its concept of observational learning was proposed by Bandura. Based on these studies, a variety of learning types have been observed, described, and explained. However, it is still unknown whether all of these types of learning are controlled by common fundamental mechanisms. Here we try to give a common explanation for multiple types of learning. Okay. Bartlett's studies on explicit memory showed that past experiences were used in the present as cues that help the brain reconstruct a past event. And Buzaki proposed that hippocampus, which is larger in autistics, a brain area involved in learning and memory, could represent some space-time as a sequence generator. And this is getting into time cells, which is relatively recent. Okay, based on these studies, we propose a theory named context sequence theory to explain different types of learning. The context sequence theory includes several key points as follows. Every event can be seen as a series of contexts. Each context can be transformed into a framework with some ambiguous and flexible contents in the brain. Learning is a process of context reorganization and context sequence formation, sure. For neutral context, the context sequence in the brain is similar to the sequence in the event. The strengths of association between any two adjacent contexts are nearly equal. So, okay, yeah, this sounds like autism to me. Where, yeah. And I think because this is all we have to work with, and there's nothing, so dysprioria is what I would like to call our issue. We can't say that's more important than that, right? Okay, so for positive or negative context, the associations between them and their previous context are enhanced. I don't think this happens so much. Maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. Different context sequences can be integrated into one context sequence. By contrast, one context sequence can be divided into different contexts. Can be divided into, okay, sure. After learning, when subjects come into the similar event, brain will recall one of the contexts and predict next context based on the context sequence. Okay, interesting. Maybe. Explanation for a variety of learning types. Okay. I don't think I need this. Classical conditioning I have issues with anyway. But let's see what they say. Acquisition is due to the enhancement of the association between the tone context and the meat context, and extinction is due to the weakening of this association. Hit the bell, get the treat. That's what they're talking about. That, I know that sounds weird. You're like, tone, meat, what? No, it's a bell. It's the Pavlov thing. Acquisition is due to the enhancement of the association between the tone context and the meat. Okay. Generalization means that different tones activate the same tone context in the brain, and the brain predicts the next meat context. And discrimination means that different tones A, B, the context with or without meat are transferred into tone A, tone B. Okay. Secondary condition is because like context, tone context, sequence, and tone context, meat context, and consolidated like. Yeah. Okay. This was the thing where they're saying like it skips like context, meat context, rather than like context. Okay, so this seems, yeah, recent studies supported. So evidently, like, if you do have kind of this serial position as part of, like, your recall and motivation, it seems like your best memory is still going to be for the beginning and the end of whatever that serial of events is, or like that you're trying to recall, things that you're trying to recall. The middle is like where you can implant false memories also, it seems. Okay, so I think I'm okay from here. Although some of them, okay, so I've sort of read this one. I've got this saved anyway, so I'm just going to go through these. I can go through them again. Sequence learning in the human brain, a functional neuroanatomical serial reaction times. And we focus on the sequence learning. Okay, that's the abstract. Oh, do I have to get? Can I have this article? Wait, what? Oh shit. Ah, fuck. This one I have to pay for, don't I? Do I? No, wait. No. Conclusion. Give me the conclusion. You won't. Why won't you? Give me conclusion, please. Can I have the figures? Okay. Come on, dude. Really? Can I have the tables? Okay, it's not letting me click on anything, so I'll deal with that later. Okay, sequence learning underlies numerous motor, cognitive, and social skills. Previous models and empirical investigations of sequence learning in humans and non-human animals have implicated corticobasal ganglia, cerebellar, got cerebellum, whatever, circuitry, as well as other structures. To systematically examine the functional neuroanatomy of sequence learning in humans, we conducted a series of neuroanatomical meta-analyses. We focused on the serial reaction time task. This task, which is the most widely used paradigm for probing sequence learning in humans, allows for the rigorous control of visual, motor, and other factors. When visual, motor, and other factors were not controlled for in a global premotor, cortical, and cerebellar activation was additionally observed. The study provides solid evidence that, at least as tested with the visual motor SRT task, sequence learning in humans relies on the basal ganglia, whereas cerebellum is what cerebellar and premotor regions appear to contribute to aspects of the task not related to sequence learning itself, which is interesting to me because the whole premotor thing, we have coordination issues in autism. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to skip that one for now because I can't read it. Sensory motor integration system can be viewed as an observer. Self-organized computational mass and motor control. Okay, so the sensory motor integration system can be viewed as an observer attempting to estimate its own state and the state of the environment by integrating multiple sources of information. We describe a computational framework capturing this notion and some specific models of integration and adaptation that result from it. Psychophysical results from two sensory motor systems, subserving the integration and adaptation of visio-auditory maps and estimation of the state of the hand during arm movements are presented and analyzed within this framework. These results suggest that spatial information from visual and auditory systems is integrated so as to reduce the variance in localization. I agree with this. The effects of a remapping in the relation between visual and auditory space can be predicted from a simple learning rule. And 3, the temporal propagation of errors in estimating the hand state is captured by a linear dynamic observer, providing evidence for the existence of an internal model which simulates the dynamics behavior of the arm. Yeah, I think, yes. Yes. I think we have an internal model of our body in the world. Yes. To that. Okay, let's see what it'll do. Psychological. Okay. Okay. Implicit learning and memory, psychological and neural. I'm just going to read everything I can for a quick overview. I'm trying to like basically crash course my ability to understand this language. And this one I was looking for the medial temporal lobe. Medial temporal lobe atrophy, particularly involving the hippocampi, is the most characteristic finding. In fact, the degree of hippocampal atrophy correlates with the severity of Alzheimer's. Interesting. Okay, medial temporal lobe, learning and memory. The medial temporal lobe. The MTL may be a sensory hub where visual features are bound into single conscious reportable gestalts and widely distributed to the neocortex. During the next slow wave sleep period, which we have issues with possibly, the coffee cup gestalt is believed to be encoded into lasting synaptic changes throughout the cortex. In episodic recall, this sequence is reversed. Interesting, which is what I'm talking about. Episodic recall, the sequence is reversed. Interesting. So do we really just daydream to understand things? Are we Are we doing this while we're awake? Comprehending a visual stimulus like a coffee cup probably required several hundred milliseconds. Thus, in less than a second, visual cortex has identified the coffee cup in front of our eyes and triggered the MTL to bind many cortical maps to start making memory traces. However, as we will see, a permanent memory takes more time to consolidate. The MTL is a highly interactive brain hub, well placed for integrating multiple brain regions and for coordinating learning and retrieval from the neocortex as well. It is a hub of hubs. The hippocampus and the MTL is believed to be a map for spatial localization. That has been verified many times, but the hippocampus has other roles. It is associated with olfaction, smell, and aspects of taste, which is why parts of MTL are called the rhinal, entorhinal, and pararhinal cortex. Rhinos means nose in Greek, as in the words rhinoceros, meaning nose horn, blah, 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 blah. See figure 19, location of the entorhinal and pararhinal cortex. Most of the outwardly visible human brain is neocortex, which ballooned outward over evolution. The hippocampus is ideally situated to combine information between the neocortex and emotional limbic areas. Yikes, that's wrong. And to bind that information into memory traces. The large neocortex, I don't really like how they're calling it that, but okay. I don't like triune brain theory, but we'll just, okay. The MTL also, well, when is this made? 2013. Okay. Well, that's fair. The MTL is necessary for episodic recall as well as learning. We have no way to switch on our MTL. Rather, we simply pay attention to whatever we want to remember. Okay. In most cases, that means that we become conscious of the material to be learned, and episodic learning seems to happen with no intention to learn. Okay. The episodic memory trace consists of an ensemble of the MTL and neocortical neurons. Hate that, neocortical. While the MTL acts as a pointer to the neural elements in neocortex for the event, we'll just say PSC instead. Retrieval occurs when a conscious cue triggers the MTL, which in turn activates the entire PFC ensemble associated with it. When we recover episodic memories, we bring to mind something close to the original conscious experience. 1995, I don't know about that. The recovery of these experiences always depends on the hippocampus. Yes. This part. So why is autistics all beefy? The hippocampal complex acts as Moscovich has argued, the hippocampal complex acts as a module whose domain is consciously apprehended information. Some recent studies, however, have questioned this hypothesis. Using fMRI and collaboration showed that the hippocampus can be activated by subliminal presentation of faces and their associated professions. Moreover, these activations are correlated with performance on subsequent explicit tests of memory for faces profession pairs. Likewise, Dasselar and colleagues found that the posterior MTL was activated more by old studied items as retrieval, even when the person was not aware that the item was old. Finally, Shendon and colleagues showed that the hippocampus was activated on a similar memory task if the repeated sequence were of higher order of association. There also have been similar reports from studies from amnesiac patients. Ostergaard, 1987, was the first to suggest the performance of some priming tests was related to the extent of medial temporal damage. More recently, Chen and Phelps, G's 99, not recent at all today, showed that non-conscious context effects in visual search were not found in amnesiac patients, suggesting the MTL was needed for retaining contextual information on which the person was not aware. Likewise, Ryan et al. 2000 showed that amnesiac people did not show the normal pattern of eye movements around the location where a change occurred in a study picture, even though neither they nor the normal controls were consciously aware of the change. Thus, the role of the hippocampus does not seem to be limited to consciously apprehended information as proposed by Moscovich, obviously. Okay. Medial temporal lobes and medial diencephalic how do I say it? Diencephalic structures are thought to play crucial role in declarative memory. They serve as a temporary deposit of information, the final storing be at the neocortex level. Thus, declarative memory, encoding, storage, retrieval processes are ensured by the interaction between medial temporal lobes and neocortex, i.e. prefrontal cortex. Please call it the PFC instead, prefrontal cortex. The neural circuit responsible for long-term storage of procedural memory is less clear, but possible candidates are represented by basal ganglia, corticostriatal connections, cerebellar cortex, and the cerebellar nuclei. I think I'm saying that wrong, but you know what? Let me fix this. I don't know how to say this. I have a really reading comprehension, verbal comprehension is like my strongest thing that's developed in my brain. Relating to the part of the brain in the back of the skull. Yeah, I know that part. Okay. How do I say it? Pronunciation. Thanks for hanging out while I read a whole bunch of studies. I meant to do like a little bit of a different stream. Cerebellar? Say it.
Cerebellar.
Cerebellar. That makes sense. Cerebellar. Okay, got it. All right. And the cerebellar nuclei. Multiple areas of the brain have been shown to play a role in different forms of learning and memory. Among these, the hippocampus, a structure within the temporal lobe, has been recognized as fundamental in the formation of declarative memory. In both semantic and episodic aspects. Yeah, so semantic and episodic declarative memory is what I think is enhanced in autistic people, and I think we need to further enhance the episodic one in order to make us goal-oriented. In 1957, Scotland observed the patient after bilateral removal of the hippocampus for severe epilepsy manifested anterograde amnesia. Since then, several studies have been performed on other patients with hippocampal damage or in lesioned animal models, confirming the role of the hippocampus and temporal lobes in memory formation. The hippocampal capability to fix memories related to a particular context correlates with its role in helping to create a map of space, a sort of internal GPS that allows us to remember the environment and forms the basis of spatial memory and navigation. So I also think that I keep track of time by noticing differences in spatial information. So I make a map of space. The space changes, time must have happened. Okay, from an anatomical point of view, the hippocampus is folded and curved in a complex three-dimensional shape organized in three layers: archicortex. Archicortex? I don't know how to say that. That's a really weird word. I have not seen this before. The entorhinal cortex possesses most of the afferent and efferent neurons. It transmits information. I don't fully have that, but I think it's okay to skip it for now. I've read afferent and efferent before, but it's not gonna click right now. It's okay because I have to get through way too many papers. It transmits information to all hippocampal areas and in turn receives signals back from them in a loop circuit, the so-called trisynaptic organization of the hippocampus. This circuit begins with granule cells in the dentate gyrus that receive information. That's also different in autistic people, that receive information from the entorhinal cortex via axons of the perforant pathway. I'm not going to worry about that right now. These cells then make axonal projections via the mossy fiber pathway and synapse on pyramidal cells in the CA3 region. CA3 pyramidal cells then project via the Schaefer collateral pathway to synapse on a pyramidal cell in the CA1. This is a little bit, we're not going to worry about that. Okay. Point being, I think what we need to max out in autistic people is this declarative memory function. Like, episodic memory has played and continues to play. So episodic memory. In the Encyclopedia of Human Behavior, 2012. Episodic memory has played and continues to play an important role in memory research. It should play an important role in managing autism. Over time, the emphasis in research has expanded from an emphasis on the content of personal experiences to include tasks that assess the context and awareness associated with memory retrieval. Episodic memory continues to be used in a heuristic sense to refer to certain kinds of tasks, but the more important use of the term is theoretical, where episodic memory refers to a type of memory system. Although a good deal of cognitive research continues to explore the nature of episodic memory, the newest areas of research have added the study of the brain to cognitive tasks. I also think, yeah, landmarks, exactly. That's what I'm trying to grab here. I also think that, so my verbal and reading comprehension, why is it this good? Why do autistic people have this hyperlexia thing sometimes? I think it's coming from declarative memory being how I organize learning. My it's not even preferential. It's like, so non-declarative memory, I don't think it's functioning. And so like on the level of like, I think my brain is non-responsive. Like, I think there's regions of my brain that are supposed to be doing something that are just kind of sitting there having a cup of tea. Okay, so let's see. Episodic memory. Let me just read these abstracts really quick, and I'm going to kick out this whole page because it's going to give me an overview of, okay, memory systems. Episodic memory is a past-oriented memory system that allows re-experiencing previous events. And there's evidence that the episodic memory, this memory system, is also how we make imaginative, creative future projections. Like, this is how we create anything, really. Like this idea of, see, this is the problem that I have with imagination, is it's kind of like, it's put in contrast with other things that our brain does, as if it's like childish, infantilized or something. But I think that the ability to use your imagination is an anchor that can replace other memory functions that are missing in people with impairments or are not functioning. Maybe your guard is down when accepting info. Go more into that. I'd like to hear what you're saying there a little bit more. I'm not quite following. I could guess, but I'd rather just not try guessing and just, yeah, tell me more. Episodic memory is a past-oriented memory system that allows re-experiencing previous events. Episodic memory is composed of a number of distinct but interacting component processes. Retrieval from episodic memory is subserved by a widely distributed network of brain regions, including temporal, parietal, and frontal cortices, diencephalon, and the cerebellum. This network overlaps partly with those subserving other systems, but specific interactions among regions uniquely define episodic retrieval. Episodic retrieval structures are not static, but are affected by factors such as ways of probing episodic memory, practice, and individual differences in genetic makeup and experience. Yeah, individual differences. No kidding. Episodic memory. Episodic memories are consciously recollected memories related to personally experienced events. Episodic remembering is a dynamic process that draws upon mnemonic and non-mnemonic cognitive abilities in order to mentally reconstruct past experiences from retrieval cues. The neural substrates of these abilities represent a distributed set of functionally specific nervous system structures that operate in concert. The profound anterograde amnesia observed in patient HM, very famous, demonstrated that the medial temporal lobes are critically involved in the formation of episodic memories, while more recent research highlights the role of other brain regions, including the prefrontal and parietal cortex in episodic memory. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's go up here. Let's see. Episodic and autobiographical memory, psychological and neural aspects. Episodic memory refers to a neurocognitive system that renders possible the conscious recollection of events as they were previously experienced. The term is closely related, but not identical, to autobiographical memory, which refers to memory for and about a person's own life. The defining characteristics of episodic memory is its dependence on a special kind of conscious awareness called autonoetic awareness. An individual with autonoetic or self-knowing awareness is capable of roaming at will in subjective time by recollecting aspects of past experiences or imagining possible future experiences. See what I'm talking about? It can be contrasted with semantic memory, or the neurocognitive system that makes possible the acquisition, retention, and use of factual information whose retrieval is accompanied by noetic awareness. Research in cognitive neuroscience has identified two brain regions, the medial temporal lobes and prefrontal cortex, which are critical for the normal operation of episodic and autobiographical memory. The former area is necessary for the establishment of episodic and autobiographical memories, and also participates in the retrieval for the limited time following encoding. Interesting. The latter area underlies the ability to become autonoetically aware of the personal past and future, and is especially important in episodic memory. Okay. Episodic memory is concerned with personal experiences, hence also autobiographical. They are conflating them. Interesting. The breakfast you had that morning, the suit you wore for last night's party. Such episodic events are important for day-to-day activities. The duration of its storage largely depends on the attention an individual gives it to it. You may remember the sumptuous dinner eaten at your friend's house for years, yet you may forget other details like your friend's son's name that are associated with the event. Hippocampus is fundamental in recording episodic memory, and it's different in autistic people. Hippocampus is very, very different in autistic people. Amnesia is a condition in which a person fails to recollect episodic memory. A particular sort of anterograde amnesia called Korsakoff's psychosis, that sounds poorly named, occurs in some persons with chronic alcoholism. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. Let's see here. For me, it's like, hold up, I reject that claim. I also like to put things in my own words before accepting them. I guess like trust issues and learning. For the second one, I have my own mental dictionary I go by. That makes sense. Yeah, I think for autistic people, we're able to hold multiple possibilities in our head at the same time. Okay, let me argue this. I think what's happening with autistic people, because we don't learn in the same way. So we get exhausted by doing this, by the way, but we don't always know what to pay attention to, because things don't get categorized as junk data in the same way that I think it does for non-autistic people in the environment, or like basically what's happening around us. So we hold multiple possibilities in mind simultaneously to be able to decide which one is more likely. So we probabilistically navigate this information that we can't sort out in a way that I think non-autistic people do. So, which also I think can leave them vulnerable to groupthink I think some of the way that this works ties into how social environments are constructed and thought of. Because we still develop social skills. Did you know that? Like, autistic people, our social skills keep developing even further and later than non-autistic people. So if we work on social skills, or what we categorize as social skills, we end up with some really robust abilities. Yes, exactly. Sensory overload is also because of similar reasons. Exactly the same reasons. Like, so yes. So I'm basically describing the mechanism for both. And so our nervous system is taking. I mean, think of it this way: like all of the information you're really processing is sense data, and even the more abstract things are abstractions of the sense data that you've already experienced. So yes. So, like Lisa Feldman Barrett likes to say, you're really just in a dark box, like a dark silent box, which is we call your skull. So we're really crunching sense data and moving it into a model of ourselves in the world. So 100%, yeah. Okay. So introduction to memory. Episodic memory and the related notion of autobiographical memory refers, they didn't conflate that totally, that's good, refers to memory for specific experiences usually associated with a time, place, and emotion, which is from 1984, and it gets really spoofy. Like, that's a little bit, that's the constructed theory of emotion is gonna crack that bad boy open. Tolkien likened the capacity of remembering specific episodes to mental time travel. Yes, this is what I'm saying we do. Okay, so I think that people with autism are potentially really good at mental time travel, as if the individual is able to re-experience individual events. And we need to do mental, like, time travel forward in order to motivate us. Oh, hell yeah. Awesome. Thank you for listening. So I think this is where I'm getting into this Walter Mitty model. I think what we need to do is time travel into a future that we realize isn't real. And the reason why I think we were discouraged from this behavior, besides the fact that imagination is infantilized and treated as if it's not a functional skill or tool of the brain, the reason why is there's a conflation between this and psychosis, which is a totally different region of your brain. Psychosis is not caused by these regions, okay, or this function. Psychosis and episodic memory are not the same thing. So we became afraid of this because in pop culture, and we're smart, we realized that the idea that you're imagining things, that you could lose touch with reality, and then you would think that your imaginations are real. But that is not that region of the brain. They don't communicate. That's not how that works. So we ended up being afraid, I think, of our mental time travel, potentially. Especially those of us who are high masking. And like people with high masking have really bad job outcomes. Like you think it would get better if you're quote unquote high masking, because that means you have some cognitive abilities that are, compensatory. Like schizophrenia. Yes. Well, and not only that, but like usually we're talking about psychosis more specifically. So when people talk about losing touch with reality, it's usually not so much schizophrenia. They're more talking about like mania with psychosis. Like that's the thing that in media we've had represented as like a crazy person. Yeah. Like where you believe you're Jesus or something like that, and you're gonna save the world from the devil, and once you start getting to like the television is talking to you and stuff, like so there's paranoia. But, like, when you get really bad paranoia, you're probably in a psychotic episode. Now, granted, like, please correct me if anyone knows better than me, but that's my current understanding of it. Is, like, yes, like schizophrenia, but also, like, more specifically, like, a psychotic episode is, I think, what we've had represented. Yeah. So, I think, like, in pop culture, we had this belief that, like, we might... Like, I was afraid that I was going to be crazy. And there's multiple reasons for this. One is that I had meltdowns, and meltdowns look... stereotypically goofy. Yeah, grandiose. Yeah. Paranoid and grandiose solutions are more a function of mania and psychosis than schizophrenia. Or like, yeah, the baseline of schizophrenia. You can have schizophrenia and have a psychotic episode, but I think that's more the issue. Okay, so mental time travel as if and that's my understanding of it. Again, like I am not an expert. I am not blah blah blah. This is somebody who just teaches herself and tries to understand it. But if you look into the brain regions, you know what I mean? This is not episodic memory. Okay. This type of memory is commonly associated with a subjective mental experience that requires a sense of self and an awareness that this event happened in the past. For example, recalling a birthday party that you attended, who was there, where it occurred, and your own personal interactions there reflects your episodic memory of that event. In this way, episodic memories represent one-time episodes, i.e. one-trial learning, and rely heavily on the hippocampus, which again is extremely different in autistic people, and it's beefy. Similarly, the first exposure to a new vocabulary word will be encoded as an episodic memory and be associated with the context in which it was learned. I am obsessed with words. Like, in fact, learning words feels like delicious to me. Like, it's so satisfying. So did you see how earlier I was saying that I have a suspicion that actually episodic memory and my ability to overcompensate with this is why the reading and verbal comprehension and all of these issues where like, oh, how come some autistics are nonverbal and some autistics are hyperlexic? Well, looky here. Looky. Similarly, the first exposure to a new vocabulary will be coded as an episodic memory and be associated. Yeah. Holy shit. So this could explain why I'm having this like intense response to new vocabulary words and have had it my whole life. Sorry, I'm just taking a moment. Also, how am I able to do this? I'm not a neuroscientist. Like, how am I able to come up with hypotheses that don't suck? Because I can see the shape. I'm not worried about the serial positions of information. I'm worried about the dynamics of the shape, okay? So I don't care if I don't know all the names for something. I don't learn that way. I learn by finding the shape and then checking if the vocabulary describes the shape. And if it does, I'm like, boom! Like, yes! And I want desperately to describe the shape, so the specificity of language is incredibly important to me, which again is a characteristic that you can find in autistic people. Thank you, Hokey Man. I always appreciate that feedback because I also live in a super sexist society and like that's no funsy onesies for me. Episodic memory impairment is the hallmark symptom of amnesiac patients. For example, patient HM, so famous, wasn't able to recall any events from his daily life after his hippocampal resection. Although the formation and retention of new episodic memories is clearly impaired in amnesia, the preservation of older episodic memories is less clear. It is clear that even in cases of extensive medial temporal lobe damage, including the hippocampus, old autobiographical memories are typically still present. This is a little less relevant to me. For example, HM was able to produce well-formed autobiographical memories from ages 16 years and younger. Other amnesiac patients have produced rich autobiographical memories. This is a little bit less. I mean, it's important to study the extremes, but however, there's still debate regarding whether these memories are truly episodic. I don't really know about that. Okay. Okay, let's see here. What do we go? Therefore, based on this definition... Okay, because episodic memory is defined as having insight into the memory, to travel back in time and re-experience the memory, is nearly impossible to test in animals. Therefore, based on this definition, Tolving 2002 argues that episodic memory is unique to humans and may be one of the factors that make humans unique from other animals. Interesting. Well, that's frustrating because then you're saying something that like autistics is better, makes us extra human instead of dehumanizing us. However, an alternative theory of episodic memory proposes that there is shared neural history between animals and humans. That's more likely. Focusing on memory for events in context, episodic memories can instead be defined by the unique characteristics of their what, where, and when components. Okay. Utilizing this definition, Clayton demonstrated that scrub jays could remember what food they stored, worms or peanuts, as well as where the location of the cage and when. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's just a matter of complexity. Like I would argue, yeah, we all mammals, possibly all things with a spinal column and a brain at the top do this, but it just gets the granularity probably changes with how complex we are. And like humans are super complex and our environments get more complex because we make tools and then we're dynamically interdependent on the environment. And like all other mammals, we have a nature that, this is what Lisa Feldman Barrett says, and she's right. We have a nature that depends on nurture, and our nurture is crazy. Our nurture is crazy because we invented all of these things that like mess with us. Abstract things and physical things and all kinds of things. Look at the thing I'm on right now. I'm on the internet. Wow. Okay. Learning theory and behavior. This is from 2017. Episodic memory refers to memory for particular events situated in space and time. Yeah, it does. As well as the underlying cognitive processes and neural mechanisms involved in remembering those events. Also, this could get into like autism and spatial recall and all this stuff, and how we don't think that women have spatial recall, but turns out we do because they were sexist. And like, the pressures on autistic women and girls are different. So then you're going to get a little bit of a different, like, set of skills that we have to do in order to avoid social ostracization and all this shit. A key ingredient of episodic memory that distinguishes it, we have to be predictable to others, right? So me as a woman, I have to be, or in a girl, I needed to be predictable as a girl and a woman, right? Which is a totally different set of expectations than what we consider to be predictable for a boy or man. Yeah, I think my nurture was out to get me. Yeah, but it also, like, you know, so your environment, you wired to your environment. So if it was out to get you, you may have learned some coping mechanisms that you might want to, you know, sort of noodle with as much as you possibly can now if they were distorted. Like, you're probably safer now than you were in that environment, and that's important to acknowledge. Yeah. Culture clash. Word. Yeah. A key ingredient, yes, exactly. A key ingredient of episodic memory that distinguishes it from other forms of memory is retrieval of information regarding the spatial and or temporal context in which the remembered event occurred. Yeah, so this I agree with very strongly. When I use this this time travel to go forward in time to motivate me to things, it's really important for me to set it in a temporal and a spatial context. And actually, let me make a note about this because this is important. Where's my notebook? Get back here, notebook. Where are you? I'm gonna fix this odds, man. Do you know, I did a slightly slow burn on this because, of course, autism. But, like, our odds are terrible. We need to be more functional in society. This needs to get fixed now. Like, now. Okay, so, okay, mental time travel. Let's see here. Okay, so, all right. Spatial, temporal. Okay. And that's my whole thing of, like, the most profound question in the English language is, where am I? Where? Proxy for space. Am, proxy for time. I, proxy for the thing we call the self, which is an emergent property of your brain asking that question. You can't be like, where am, you know, that thing, the thing that I'm trying to keep alive, the me, the consistent part of me, the parts of me that tend to stay and that I've recognized are good for me. Ah, yeah, those parts. Okay. Spatial. So then, where was I? Episodic. Autonoetic consciousness. Wait, hold on. What? I'm never going to get through all these papers. That's okay. A key ingredient. You know what? We're just going to try. I have to grind through this because this is not going to get fixed. I'm convinced it's not going to get fixed in time. The idea that I have to beat 90-10 odds, and I definitely am not anywhere close to being in that 10%. I have to transform myself into the 10%. How? Find a genie? No. Okay, episodic memory refers to memory for particular... Okay, where were we? A key ingredient of episodic memory that distinguishes from other forms of memory is retrieval of information regarding the spatial and or temporal context in which the remembered event occurred. Okay, spatial temporal context. Okay, so we need to add spatial and temporal context every time we create what I'm going to say is like a substitution for other ways that people are able to create goals. So we need to Walter Mitty this, is what I'm saying. We need to create a spatial and temporal context that is imaginary in order to motivate ourselves forward. We're not going to think the imaginary thing is real. We're not going to become psychotic. Okay, remembering is an expression of autonoetic consciousness and hence retrieval from episodic memory. And knowing is an expression of noetic consciousness and hence retrieval from semantic memory. Remembering. Knowing is noetic consciousness. Autonoetic consciousness is episodic, and noetic consciousness, interesting, is supposed to be semantic memory. And semantic memory is what they also do show us a trick, autistic people sort of stuff, where we remember like all of the stats of something or whatever, like from like a baseball stats, or like all of the time schedules of a train or whatever. So that's okay. Autonoetic. Okay. The non-representational reflexivity. The non-representational reflexivity is the non-conceptual knowing inherent to non-dual awareness that differentiates it from anoetic, noetic, and autonoetic consciousness that are based on conceptual knowing. Okay, we're going to have to learn about this too. Damn it. Ugh! Okay, so... But just to know that, like, noetic noetic consciousness is semantic. So that's all. The other way that I did it was like events are considered the episodic thing. So episodic is events. Facts are semantic. Okay. Facts. Okay. So that's autonoetic. Autonoetic is events. Okay. As opposed to, so procedural memory rather than declarative memory, this is what I think we have a problem with. That's skills and tasks, right? And we have a problem with this. Okay. Okay, conceptual knowing. Wait. What's anoetic? What is anoetic consciousness? God damn it, I need to know that. Anoetic is defined as a rudimentary state of affective, homeostatic, and sensory perceptual mental experiences. What? Oh, that's going to be different in autism. What? Excusez-moi? Holy shit. So, anoetic is what they're connecting to procedural memory and priming, which is what I said was the holy shit. Fucking hell. No wonder it doesn't work. We have sensory processing disorders. Do people know this? Holy shit. Okay, hold on. I'm just freaking out a little bit. Oh, no. So, procedural memory is what they're referring to with anoetic consciousness. Is defined as a rudimentary state of affective, homeostatic, and sensory perceptual. Shit, dude. They should already know this, right? Somebody must already know this. I can't be shittily reinventing a wheel that doesn't exist. It must already exist, right? I'm just being what? Oh my God. Why aren't they helping us with this? Of course that doesn't work. Oh my God. What brain regions are implicated in that? Or associated or what? Holy shit. I'm basically hunting down my disability because I'm tired of having to try to beat odds that I know I can't beat. I'm like, well, what if we just talk directly about my disability instead? Wouldn't that be better than me continually looking for a genie? Okay, conscious state schema. Oh, we're into schemas. Okay, procedural schema, can't do that. Conceptual schema can do that. Self schema can do that. Okay. They think that anoetic consciousness leads into noetic consciousness and autonoetic consciousness. They think it starts here. Bullshit. No. This is wrong. Because mine is fucked. My anoetic consciousness is fucked. So there's no way that this is this strong and this is how you get there. Bullshit. Sensory input and procedural memory. This is wrong. Cute chart, very wrong chart. No. No. You can skip this. Okay, moving on. That's wrong. When is this from? Because it's wrong. 2020, you're wrong. Hi, Joseph, you're wrong. No, bad model. The lower order state is not simply a pure sensory state of lower order. I hate lower order. That's just like, that's not how I would organize the brain. Anyways, that's my beef. I don't like that language. I understand what they're trying to say with it, broadly speaking, but I hate the language. It's just like reinforcing hierarchical models that are wrong because we have an ideology that's built around this like awful triune sort of morality play. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. The emergence of primary anoetic consciousness and episodic memory. Based on interdisciplinary perspectives, when is this from? 2013? We discuss how primary process anoetic forms of consciousness emerge into higher forms of awareness, such as knowledge-based episodic knowing, you're wrong, and self-aware forms of higher order consciousness like autonoetic awareness. What is that supposed to mean? I hate this lower order, higher forms. I hate it. Anoetic consciousness is defined because then that's linear. Do you know how slow that would be if you had to go first step, second step, third step? No, that's not how it's working. Anoetic consciousness is defined as the rudimentary state of affective homeostatic and sensory perceptual mental experiences. Okay. Mine are all weird. Now what? It can be considered as the autonomic flow of primary process phenomenal experiences that reflects a fundamental form of first-person self-experience, a vastly underestimated primary form of phenomenal consciousness. We argue that this anoetic form of evolutionarily refined consciousness constitutes a critical antecedent that is foundational for all forms of knowledge. No. Acquisition via learning and memory, giving rise to knowledge-based or noetic. No. Consciousness as well as higher forms of awareness. No. Then why does that part of me work better? Huh? That permits time travel in the brain mind. Okay, kind of, sort of, maybe, but mine works differently. I don't like this like better, worse framework you've already established of like you do this first, then the other stuff works out. No, it doesn't. This is why you can't teach. We summarize the conceptual advantage of such a multi-tiered neural evolutionary approach to physiological issues, namely from general. Okay, let me. primary affect, secondary learning and memory, to higher tertiary. I hate this. If you put things into primary, secondary, tertiary, I get mad at it immediately because it sounds like a morality tale. Developmentally emergent brain mind processes along with suggestions about how affective experiences become more cognitive and object oriented. More subtle higher mental processes such as episodic memory. Yeah, I don't agree with this. I think this is, I think that there's something wrong with this. Just let me say there's something wrong with this. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to be able to deal with that right now. Okay. Okay, let's see what else. Episodic memory captures individual experiences of particular times and places. Okay, episodic memory captures individual experiences of particular times and places. Episodic memory associates what, when, and where, and is the basis for cognition because the animal that remembers episodes can use them to recall previous events or to project forward, predicting future events. I don't know if I would phrase that like that. These are key elements. Probably not. I would probably reject that if I were more aware of all this. Okay. Also, what brain regions are affected? I never got to that. Hold on. That's what I actually wanted. Do you tell me? fMRI? Wait, what? I want to work for Elisa Feldman Barrett's lab, but I don't think I can get there. But that's okay. Where is this in the brain? Okay. Oh, God damn you. Okay, can I get anything? Oh God, the higher order prefrontal network. I hate this shit. Okay. You got something for me? Oh boy. Not seeing it. Is it scary? Oh, that's funny. That's interesting. Can you tell me why I don't have too much awareness of that? I'm not offended by that, by the way. Like, I just am what I am. You know what I mean? Like, it's better for me not to mask it. Like, what's the point of that? Remember, is an expression of autonomy. Hence, retrieval. Okay. Conceptual knowing. Did I write that down? I need to. Yeah. Conceptual knowing. I don't know why anoetic would be conceptual knowing. Like, what else would there be outside of, I don't know. Okay. I guess that makes sense because they're saying they think it's a concept cascade where you learn it successfully with that. Okay. Okay, I'm just skimming right now. Episodic future thinking. Yeah, that's what we... So... Episodic future thinking. Scorpio rising energy. Yeah, probably. Okay. Wait, what? Oh. Huh. What's this one talking about? Cognitive feelings, remembering, familiarity, and knowing. This sounds interesting. When a specific autobiographical memory comes to mind, then a rememberer has recollective experience. That is, they experience remembering consciously and have what has been termed autonoetic consciousness. Oh, I see. Interesting. Huh? Okay. Okay. Typically, images enter conscious awareness, often visual in nature. Attention towards inwards, other highly specific knowledge may also feature too, and there's a strong sense of the self in the past. Additionally, there is a distinct feeling of remembering. I have a strong sense of myself in the past being like kind of still me. Like past doesn't fully make sense to me. Like I don't think I have a sense of how long ago the past was. It all feels equal. Like jump rope, but it's going so fast, no chance to jump in, but it's cool. I just feel bad. I can't. Yeah, you seem to get there, so it all works out. Yeah, I heard that there's no idea that more helium can be produced by drilling for gasoline in a way that actually gets the gasoline to produce it. Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. Now we can all have silly voices. Okay. Typically, images enter conscious awareness often. Okay, where's it? Okay. Additionally, there is a distinct feeling of remembering, a feeling that what is in consciousness is a memory. Such feelings are part of a class of mental experiences that have been termed cognitive feelings. I think I have an intense feeling of that. Cognitive feelings let us experience our mental states, and without them we would have to, perhaps consciously and laboriously, infer what state we were in at any given time. Thus, the feeling of remembering triggered by mental content such as visual images of past experiences lets us know automatically and experientially that we are remembering. No further inferential reasoning is required to determine that the state. Yeah, I think we also have like kind of an awareness of like what part of our brain we're in that does that. I don't know. That's my feeling of it. Well, maybe I'm totally wrong. The conscious feeling of remembering may be important to in convincing a person that they are indeed remembering and then to act on that. Okay. To give a trivial but uncommon example, if a person remembers that they locked the door when they left the house, maybe a visual image comes to mind and perhaps other details, and they have a feeling of remembering, then they almost certainly would not go back to check. If, however, the feeling of remembering was not triggered by the knowledge brought into consciousness, then determining whether what is in consciousness is in fact a memory and not, for instance, a generic visual image or set of images is more difficult and in some cases perhaps not possible at all, in which case the probability of repeating one's actions is increased. Right. Which might be why we get OCD misdiagnosis in some autistics, is if we're having some difference here, that might happen more often. The feeling of remembering an autonoetic consciousness may then have a quite powerful, direct, and important effects on behavior. And I'm going to argue that if you let us do this like episodic future thinking, we'll know even better the difference between episodic future thinking and memory of past events. So like, or anoetic consciousness or whatever, or noetic, wait, not anoetic, sorry, autonoetic. Anoetic is the one I can't do. Let me put a big nope there so I don't mess that up. Okay. All right. The conscious experience of remembering can be contrasted with other states of memory awareness. Oh, the feeling of remembering an autonoetic consciousness may then have quite powerful, direct, and important effects on behavior, you say. Okay, let's see. The conscious experience of remembering can be contrasted with other states of memory awareness. For example, feelings of familiarity and knowing occur when autobiographical knowledge is brought to conscious awareness without associated episodic memories. Okay. Remembering a school attended, the name of a friend, a work project, a holiday, a repeated event, etc., without remembering any single specific event is associated with familiarity and knowing, but not with recollective experience. This type of remembering features what has been termed noetic consciousness. Noetic consciousness does not feature specific representations of the self in the past, such as those that are represented in episodic memories. Noetic consciousness cannot then trigger the feeling of remembering, although as we will shortly see, this may occur in malfunctions of memory. Oh, you mean me? Cognitive feelings characteristic of noetic states appear to be related partly to orienting processes and partly to meta-memory functions. A person's face, for example, might trigger a feeling of familiarity and lead to a meta-memory inference that the person has been recently encountered. This may prime the memory system for detailed recollection if current tasks come to require that. On the other hand, it may not lead to full recollection, so reduce the attentional cost that would be incurred by constructing a full and detailed memory and consciousness. This feeling of familiarity of recent occurrence may then serve to optimize cognitive performance and keep processing online and task-oriented while still supporting some recognition of past occurrence. Task orientation, I don't do that. In a similar way, a more pervasive feeling of familiarity triggered by features of an individual's habitual environment may facilitate orientation to that environment and fluent processing of it. In other words, this feeling of familiarity of the habitual, which we really like as autistics, may reduce attentional and processing demands on cognition and consciousness by signaling what does not need close attention and more detailed processing. Gee whiz, why would autistics like routine? Gee whiz. What possibly could make us want to like that? It is particularly interesting that many brain-injured patients who are disoriented in time and space often claim that everything is unfamiliar, as though the feeling of familiarity triggered by the habitual had in some way been disfacilitated. That's a new one for me, but I obviously facilitated. That makes sense. There may well be further shades of... Actually, hold on. Let me just double check that. Relates to the utilization of altered motor control strategies. These altered strategies contribute to changes in thresholds. Oh, this is actually jargon. Good to know. Movement and function. Okay. Where are you? Recruitment, dysfunction, inhibition, and disfacilitation. Yeah, okay. Inhibition, disfacilitation can be identified as abnormal alteration of normal recruitment. Inhibition relates to a process of neural discharge being actively suppressed by another neural influence. This process is part of a normal movement, but it may become abnormal in certain situations. Disfacilitation relates to the utilization of altered motor control strategies. These altered strategies contribute to changes in thresholds of facilitation and inefficient pattern of muscle activation. Gee whiz! Autistic people have dyspraxia. Gee whiz. Are you implicating that as well? Okay, maybe. Sounds like they're using it more generally though, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. There may well be further shades of cognitive feelings here related to familiarity in the temporal dimension. I guess this can be generalized more, but it still seems kind of jargony. But it's not quite as jargony as what I looked up, though I am interested in that too. Interesting. Okay. There may well be further shades of cognitive feelings here related to familiarity in the temporal dimension. Yeah. Yeah. For example, a conscious feeling triggered by the beginnings and endings of events, the feelings that events are proceeding fluently. I don't have any of that. Feelings that one's autobiographical memory is continuous. Okay, fair. Anticipatory feelings of imagined future events, which share activation of many of the brain areas that are activated. See, I don't know if you understand that that's time yet, though. The beginnings and endings of events is something that I think is a problem for autistic people. Because it is. Okay. Of temporal, where was that again? in the temporal dimension. Okay, do autistics have something more or something less? Both. Definitely both. We have something more and something less. There may well be further shades of cognitive feelings here related to familiarity in the temporal dimension. Okay. Yeah, beginnings and endings of events, there's something different there with autistic people. Okay, anticipatory feelings of imagined future events which share activation of many of the brain areas that are activated when remembering. I am aware of this, and that's what my hypothesis is hinging on. Are all memory-related cognitive feelings that await further investigation? Investigate the autistics. Okay, the feeling of knowing may be more associated with metamemory functions than with orientation, and again, there seem to be two functions of this feeling. One is to let us feel what it is we know, and other is to let us feel what we might know. I feel that, yeah. For example, during the process of learning at university, students initially rely on memories of knowledge presented in lecture, encountered in books, in conversation with teachers, or even in conversation with each other. Later, however, as they acquire knowledge, they no longer depend on memories of times when knowledge was encountered and instead come to just know. That is, they just know, if they are psychology students, that the behaviorists rejected introspectionism. Freud discovered the unconscious. I disagree with Freud. And with subjects designed, the same participants take part in all the experimental conditions and so on. Verification of these facts is accompanied by a feeling of knowing, which might be very satisfying for autistic people, by the way. Verification of quote-unquote facts accompanied by a feeling of knowing. Okay. Cool. A feeling that lets the individual know what they know experientially and without having to engage in further extended processing. Oh, an efficiency loophole, you're saying. People just know that Paris is the capital of France, that last year's holiday was on a Greek island, that they once lived in London, and so on. Conversely, there is knowledge in long-term memory that is available but not currently accessible to consciousness, usually because an appropriate cue cannot be located that would activate the knowledge to a level where it could enter consciousness and experiences. I don't know about that part. Nonetheless, that's past what I can even parse anyways. Nonetheless, extensive evidence shows that people can discriminate on the basis of a feeling of knowing between items that they would be able to recognize and even remember with an effective cue from those they would not be able to recognize or remember even with a cue. Presumably, this is because the knowledge in long-term memory is sufficiently activated to trigger a feeling of knowing, but not support incorporation of that item in a conscious representation. Were such an available item to be consciously accessible, then there is nothing to preclude it triggering the just know feeling state. The relation between the feeling of knowing for temporarily inaccessible items and the feeling these same items trigger when they eventually do enter consciousness is not known. Interesting. Okay. Mentally time traveling. So interesting. So I think that mentally time traveling is incredibly important for autistic people as a skill. But we can go forward, and if you go forward in time traveling, you realize that it's just a tool. Because when you get there, it never is what you traveled to at all, right? Like you are not psychic. But it's a great tool for creating motivation and like goal direction, like directing yourself towards a goal. Being goal directed. You create the effect of being goal directed even without, I think, the more normal way to get there. Right. Okay, I'm just skimming for a second. Mental time travel. Right. There are many problems with the conceptualization. Most importantly, not all episodic memory is autobiographical, right? And not all autobiographical memory is episodic. In terms of the former, we argue that Tulving's two criteria for episodic memory are dissociable. One might have knowledge of specific time and place at which an experience occurred and still not have any autonoetic consciousness. We know from a great deal of excellent animal research that non-human animals are able to remember specific occurrences, including quite specific information about when and where an event occurred. There is no question that animals must be able to recall specific episodes to survive. However, we argue that the ability to tag an episode by space and time does not yet meet the criteria for autobiographical memory. Interesting. Tag an episode by space and time. So I think we can tag episodes by space and time and use that to navigate towards goals, right? And make like an imaginary episode, right? And we can also superimpose space and time that is more motivating. So non-autobiographical is what we're going for. Non-autobiographical. COVID, the experience of COVID definitely changed me, but I didn't actually get COVID. But like, you know, the pandemic experience itself has changed me as a person, absolutely. But I also got diagnosed with autism, like kind of a few months before it all started. So that was also happening. Oh. This is a really good series of like, it's like Science Direct is great, by the way, for it. Just, you can just go through a whole bunch of different articles really quickly. And they curate them really well. Like, this has been very helpful. Okay. Huh. Okay. Okay, autonoetic awareness requires at least 3 characteristics in addition to specific space and time information. Specific space and time information. See, I think that's what we should have, specific. So I'm going to argue that if we create specific space and time information, we can create kind of like a, what's the way to put this? I'm looking for the right metaphor word. Hold on. Like a prosthetic goal. Goal orientation or goal acquisition system. Because the normal one I don't think works. So this would be our prosthetic. I mean, it's in our brain, but like, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, but you could have like an AI help you. We could basically, this is what I was saying about like superimposing it. We could have like an AI give us a story and we could probably imagine it very well in our head, but you could also use like potentially like AR and VR to superimpose it. Right? Okay, let's get back into this. Anoetic awareness requires at least 3 characteristics in addition to specific space and time information. Autonoetic, not anoetic. That's the one I'm trying to avoid. Autonoetic consciousness, by definition, implies a sense of self as an experiencer of the event. More precisely, an animal can have a representation of a past event in mind with no awareness of the self as the experiencer of the event. This would be what Nelson has called direct experience, a simple representation of the past with no conscious awareness of it being recalled. It is simply known. In contrast, an autobiographical memory is a memory of self. There is an awareness that there is an entity in the present recalling the experience in the past. This requires first that there is a current representation of self that has the phenomenological experience it's a long word with too many vowels. Phenomenological experience of remembering as distinct from knowing or imagining. Remembering, knowing, imagining. So imagining gets basically docked in importance over our lives, and I think it's all the same system. And if our remembering and knowing is stronger, then we need to use the imagining part in order to be goal oriented, future, oriented, directing ourselves towards goals. Because that's what's wrong with me as an autistic person, is that part. Okay, let's keep going. But not if I use the imagining. No, that's how I've gotten towards goals. People are asking me like how I got to do some of the things that I've done. That's how, by creating this like really, really interesting imaginary scenario that I then go towards. I know I'm not in it though. I'm not like delusional. Like, this is the problem, is that in our society, I think we believe that this is associated with like psychosis, and it's not. So you would absolutely discourage people from daydreaming or whatever. Like, daydreaming is already so, do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's a very derogatory sort of wishy-washy word for something that might be a critical skill for having a good quality of life. Okay. All right, phenomenological experience of recalling a previous event. That is the phenomenological experience of remembering as distinct from knowing or imagining. Okay. Second, there must be a representation of a previous self as the experiencer of the event being remembered. That is, a current self recalling a previous self. I am remembering something that happened to me as an entity that existed in the past, not something that simply happened or happened to someone else. Why should it matter? This in turn requires that there must be an explicit link between the current self as rememberer and the previous self as experiencer. To connect the previous event as something that happened to the current self. Thus, well, how would you get confused about that? That's pretty... Okay. Thus, there must be some representation of continuity of self over time. Yeah, there is. That would be... So the self over time is a probability, right? So it's like, over time, what percentage of you is still there? What's pinging back, right? What when you ping it pings back. When you ping it pings back. It pings back 100% of the time, then it's you. Like, Rap, how did you get yourself to practice every day? I anchored it to words. So, because what I was saying earlier, that locking into like language and the meaning of words, that's how I did it. Yeah, it's just I just focused on the obsession with words, which I hit that earlier. I'll have to rewatch that part of the stream too. Actually, let me just highlight this and try to find, where was that? Was that on here? Thought it was. Huh? I had a like, oh shit moment, and then I didn't write it down. God damn it. Was it here? Did you not remember that? You remember that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, episodic language. There we go. That was it. Yeah. Similarly, the first exposure to a new vocabulary will be encoded as episodic memory and be associated with the context in which it... So I would just, like, geek out on that. I loved using idioms to also understand. I'm gonna go make a little note of this so I don't lose this. Yeah. I had to learn all the terms and words and definitions first. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And isn't that way more satisfying somehow? Because I think you're creating, because then you start imagining, right? You start doing the future version of this, which I think needs a better like name, how those words work in a shape, dynamically in a shape, right? Like this goes there and that goes there and that describes this and cool. There must be like you're using those words to construct a future, what do we call this thing? Hang on. Well, you're using that for event construction, right? Clearly you're using it for event construction. And then it's exciting to learn, because then, so you do the event construction and then you do the actual practice and then you're like, oh, it's different. Cool. Yeah. I try to tell people my imagination is like AI, like, so that they can understand. Because now they have, like Mid-Journey and stuff that they can see how that makes art. I was like, yeah, it's like that. Of a previous self as the experiencer of an, okay, where were we? Okay. Okay, an animal may be well aware that a particular food is found at a particular location and may even be able to determine whether that food was previously found one day ago or many days ago without having any phenomenological awareness that the current self is recalling a past self finding and eating that food, and that the past self is linked temporally and phenomenologically to current self. Episodic memory is critical for survival and certainly available across species and across human development from infancy on. Yep. But autobiographical memory requires a self-recursively experiencing self over time. Yeah. Or what we label self-recursively experiencing self. I like that. A self-recursively experiencing self over time. And if you're bad with the time part, the recursive part is really important. Come with me. Repeated application of a rule, definition, or procedure to successive results, relating or involving a program or routine of which a part requires the application of the whole, so that its explicit interpretation requires a general many successive executions. Recursion. There we go. It recurs. And if something recurs enough times, that is me, right? Right. That's how I figure out what's me and what's not me. Right? That makes sense, doesn't it? That's why I was saying it's like a statistical thing. It's a probability thing. Yeah, that's definitely that. I agree with that strongly. I really like that. That's said way better than I did. So, yeah. Okay. Tolving argued that the distinction... Ooh, what's this? How am I going to get through all these? Look at all the tabs. Damn it. Chronesthesia? What? Oh, I think that's broken. Okay, let's read this one and then maybe I'll stop. Synapse triangle. Is that what we're saying? I don't follow what that means. I know what a synapse is, if we were going for synapse. Do you live in Akashic records? Do you believe in I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. So no, I can't. I might. If I did, I don't. Cognitive psychology of memory. This is my last one. And then I got an appointment at 11. Tolving, 1983, also added to the list of ways to distinguish episodic from semantic memory. Okay. Indeed, the original list was expanded to include 28 differentiated features. These features were divided into 3 broad categories. 1, the type of information processed by the systems. 2, the characteristics of their operations. And 3, applications in the laboratory as well as in the real world. Although not emphasized by Tolving, Other factors can explain differences between the two memory systems. For example, people are typically exposed to semantic information more than to episodic information, and this may make it less vulnerable to disruption. Interesting. Yet another quality proposed to set apart episodic from semantic memory and the two from procedural memory, which I can't freaking do, was consciousness. Procedural memory was associated with anoetic, non-knowing consciousness, which is temporally and spatially restricted to the current situation. Ha ha ha, I can't do that. Organisms that possess anoetic... See what I'm saying? So if I have problems with things that are temporally and spatially restricted to the current situation and I need to go towards a goal, how do I do that? It's something that Native Americans may believe in, I think. Okay. Organisms that possess anoetic consciousness were thought to be able to perceive, internally represent, and respond behaviorally to their internal and external environment. Semantic memory was characterized by noetic knowing consciousness, allowing organisms to act on their symbolic knowledge of the world in a flexible manner, and to be aware of and perform cognitive processes on objects and events and the relations among them in their absence. Yep. Mental representations of systems. This just would be why you can have potentially autistics get super, super good at abstraction, right? Because then we're just like, system do this, system do that. Dynamically move parts of shape of system. Ooh, wow, now it would do this. So we can do really good work in our heads about what probably would happen. We can basically make arguments in our heads about the behavior of a system. Like, oh, in this circumstance, it would probably do this because I've already mapped it out and I think this way very easily because it's my way of getting towards goals, I'm going to argue. It's like the idea that if you figure something out, it is sent to the ether and now others will figure it out also. Our brains are all connected. Yeah, it could be. There's some interesting stuff about, I'm fine with that, you know. There's multiple ways that could work. So I'm happy with that being possible. I'm more than happy with that being possible. Or even if that's not, okay, even if, let me put it this way. That may be an observable reality that we don't have an explanation for. I could accept that. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be too worried about the explanation of it. But yeah, possibly yes. In some sense, yes. Who knows what sense? Like, it may not be... Let me put it this way. All brains are connected if you look at it on a longer time scale. If we're talking about, like, a millisecond time scale, maybe not. But if we're talking about, like, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, yeah. Sometimes y'all talk about things here and I'm like, are they hacking me and looking at my journals? No. Yeah. No, I mean, well, I think that, again, there's certain things that are in my environment that my brain is responding to due to how I developed, right? And I don't think I'm that unusual. I think I'm just not a duck. That's what my whole thing is like, you know, like the ugly duckling. All my time I was like, I'm not normal, but I'm super normal for not a duck, right? Like I'm autistic. For an autistic, I'm pretty freaking boring, you know? So yeah, if you're on the spectrum or you have traits of the spectrum and you're relating to me, you probably have been using similar, ways of navigating life and working with your brain to have a stronger, comprehension of your life, like where you are making sense of it, even if you can't make sense of it the way that other people do, then you may have a strong feeling of like, wow, in this space, because everybody that comes here can, like, I don't want to say keep up with me, but like they already do that type of thinking. So it's not like, this is weird. It's not like overwhelming. It's not overwhelming to you, right? Like maybe like, again, my processing speed is super dumb fast, and I have the two traits that you should know about me that are unusual in a positive, well, supposedly positive direction. That could be intimidating, but again, like there's lots of parts of my brain that do jack diddly squat shit, right? So, but I have really, really, really fast processing speed. Like it's dummy fast. And then I have really good verbal and reading comprehension. So sometimes that spills over too much, and I think, but not, you don't need to have that to relate to me. That's like, ugh. It's just one part of what my brain is doing. So if you're relating to me and then that's like getting in the way at all, don't even worry about it. That part of me that's the part that's weird. The rest of it, I'm just very boring autistic person. The only weird part of those two parts. Okay. Where were we? Okay, where was I? I wanted to finish this. Shit, I have to. Episodic memory was associated with autonoetic self-knowing consciousness. Autonoetic consciousness enables individuals to appreciate their subjective experience in relation to time. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Okay, the time part I'm not sure about. It is deemed necessary for recollection or remembering to occur as it provides the phenomenological quality of transporting oneself across time to mentally relive an event. As a consequence, see, and then if you have a weird sense of time, I don't know if that's how I would explain that. This is where time cells is going to get weird, and I should probably read about time cells right now. Right, okay. Time cells. Yeah, there's something wrong about that, but they're on to something. Yeah, the energy levels, exactly. You get used to it too. It's like, oh, okay. It's like once the experiential blindness of like dealing with somebody whose brain is like a wind-up toy going, like it's easier. Okay. It's unusual though, so I appreciate that. It's unusual and weird, and you just have to get used to it, and you'll be fine. Okay. As it occurs, okay. As a consequence, when one remembers an event, he or she is aware that he or she experienced it personally in the past. This subjective awareness is not restricted to remembering the past. It also applies to imagining future personal experiences, and thus has been described as enabling mental time travel. Early neuroimaging works supported the distinction between episodic and semantic memory, and will be discussed further in section episodic and semantic memory as a biological reality, which you need to contrast against autistics, ASAP, if you haven't already. Scientists. Another form of consciousness proposed more recently by Tolving, oh, this is old, that is intimately tied to autonoetic consciousness and episodic memory is chronesthesia. Chronesthesia. Tolving proposed that chronesthesia enables one to think about subjective time and to be aware of the temporal dimension of one's existence as well as that of others. Can't do that, whether in the past, present, or future. Although autonoetic consciousness and chronesthesia are both concerned with the awareness of self in time, don't have that. What distinguishes them is the relative emphasis on self versus time. Tolving argued that the distinction may be subtle, but it is nonetheless necessary because the concept of self can be dealt with independently from the concept of time and vice versa. Yes, it can. Yet another feature that distinguishes the different types of memory, according to Tolving, is their hierarchical order. But see, the workaround for that, so that recursive thing, if you can create a sense of self and the time and how time works and operates on the self by checking that recursive experience of the self over, so you can kind of fill this in. So it's possible that like autistic people over time will be able to use this to make up for the quote-unquote time blindness. And this could be true for ADHD people as well. Maybe, is my hope. This is the only way things get said. I didn't even have an adjustment period to Jane's amount. Yay! Yeah, ADHD should help too. This is why I track as at least possibly... It's weird because I don't know what I have with regards to that. I think I have actual ADHD, but I have something in common with the inattentive subtype. And that may actually be a separate condition anyway, which has been speculated for some time now. It's called sluggish cognitive tempo, or it has been called that. It's a terrible name. Everybody knows that was a terrible name. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, but I do think that technically speaking, it's coming from the processing speed. That's where the more profound overlap comes from ADHD. Shade, have you ever had your processing speed tested? Usually it's in psychoeducationals, but they might do, I think they do that if you did like, whatchamacallit? Oh, what do you calls? Hello, brain. I can't think of it. Oh, neuropsych eval. I think in neuropsych evals when he talks about something he loves. Interesting. Yeah, your partner who has ADHD. I've never had that tested. No, I'd be interested. Yeah, I'd like to see that tested on more people who relate to me, because I'm curious where it is falling on people. I would love to know that, because that's one of the most unusual things about my brain, for sure. Okay, Tolvien argued that the distinction may be subtle, but in the concept of self, independently from the concept. Okay, where were we? Okay, and then I got to go to... Okay, we're going to finish this. However, as mentioned... Okay, yet another feature that distinguishes different types of memory, according to Tolvien, is their hierarchical order. I hate our hierarchical order. In Elements, Tolvien depicted propositional memory, of which episodic memory and semantic memory are a part, and procedural memory at the top of the hierarchy. Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Procedural memory sucks on me. These other ones don't. Explain. However, as mentioned in section the 1972 distinction, episodic memory was later reconceptualized as a subcategory of semantic memory. Okay, so you're calling... I've heard them split. I haven't heard them propose as a subcategory. So we would have, which I think makes more sense to me, because semantic memory seems to be really strong in all autistics, and in some people who can't do the episodic memory, that seems to be their saving grace. If you can do episodic memory, I think that becomes your saving grace, because there's something wrong with our procedural memory. There is something wrong with it that we just have to give up on, okay? Okay. The implications of this hierarchical scheme is bullshit, are significant. One cannot possess episodic memory without semantic memory. Maybe. And one cannot possess semantic memory without procedural memory. False. 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 That's why you aren't helping autistic people. 1985, when you absolutely would not have diagnosed somebody with my type of autism. Thanks. Conversely, because you weren't even looking for it in women. Conversely, it is possible for one to process procedural memory without semantic memory, and semantic memory without episodic memory. What? Yes. However, as much as there is a need for previous semantic memories to help structure and interpret incoming details of personal experience events, there is a need for personal experience from which commonalities are extracted to form what? Kind of, sort of. But yeah, this is wrong. Procedural memory does not... No. Nope. You can skip right over that. Okay. I wonder if you can get a government grant or GoFundMe for your research. That'd be dope. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I need to figure out where I fit into the world, because the world has absolutely no idea what to do with a me. I've learned that, and that's not to be a jerk or anything, but like, again, 90% of us are under and unemployed, and I'm absolutely inside of that window. And if you're like, wow, how are you doing this? I'm like, well, can't get a job that I can keep. So I got to figure it out. Okay, thanks for joining. I'm going to keep working on this for probably the rest of the afternoon. I might stream later. Thank you. Yeah, it has to get fixed. It has to get fixed. You cannot ask disabled people to beat 90-10 odds. Nope, 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 no, 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 and no. And yeah, this hierarchical thing is wrong. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye! I gotta go to an appointment, so I have to leave right now. Okay, bye. Thank you.